You'll remember last spring we saw more rain than usual with a very active severe weather season. The U.S. actually saw the most tornadoes last year since 2011, but this spring we're transitioning into a new weather pattern. I'm breaking down what that means for the next few months in my long-range spring forecast. Several Arctic blasts sandwiched in between mild days this winter gave us a winter temperature near average, but we ended up with 18.2 inches of snow by the end of February, 3 inches more than normal in Columbia. Typically, we can expect a spring temperature of around 54 degrees, but you'll remember last spring was pretty mild with a near 60-degree average. Last spring was wetter than average by more than an inch with a very active severe weather season. That rotation now barreling along State Route F there in Callaway County, approaching the Highway 54 and Business 54 corridors. 2024 had the most tornadoes since 2011 nationwide. That was a very active year for severe weather across the country, with the Good Friday tornado that you might remember that hit St. Louis as an EF4 and hit the St. Louis airport right around Easter that year. We also had the outbreak across the southeast that brought tons of devastation, of course, in multiple EF5 tornadoes, and of course the Joplin tornado that hit in May 2011. So we recorded about 1,900 tornadoes nationwide in 2024 compared to about 2,200 back in 2011. We had 208 tornado warnings across Missouri in 2024. Most of those came in the spring months, and typically we see around 5 tornadoes in March, 8 in April, and 14 in May. In 2024, we had 105 tornadoes recorded in Missouri. So it was a very active spring, and we're going to be heading into a pattern to where we could either have above or below average tornado reports. We typically see about a 50-50 shot. This is a look at the neutral pattern years in the last 15 to 20 years. Back since 2005, we recorded about half of the amount of tornadoes that were above average in that time frame. As we transition from La Nina to neutral, the global sea surface temperature will get closer to average in the central and eastern Pacific. This usually points to an average season in mid-Missouri, with the polar jet stream just to our north and the subtropical jet to our south across the southeast. This opens up our area to more variability during spring. The Climate Prediction Center is already hinting at a slightly wetter than average spring in mid-Missouri, and we're on our way with a wet start to March. As for temperatures, CPC has equal chances of above or below average for the region. However, spring has been warmer than normal in Columbia since 2015. The average spring temperature has increased 3.5 degrees since 1970 in Columbia. We've also seen an increase of 15 more warmer than normal days between March and May. Through May, widespread drought looks to hold across the Missouri Basin to our north. Areas of extreme drought across Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming could limit flooding upstream from reaching our part of the Missouri River. Snowpack is looking very sparse as we get into mid-March, and parts of the basin have only seen 30 to 40% normal precipitation over the last month. Overall flooding risk is below normal, but there could be short-term rises to minor flood stage, especially on local tributaries due to routine spring storms. The ABC 17 Storm Track spring forecast calls for a slightly warmer than normal spring with a typical number of severe weather outbreaks. That could lead to a slightly wetter than normal season. A 1 to 2 degree departure and 1 inch departure from normal are expected. Thanks.